Morning, you lot. Well, I came to what I thought was a dead-end road that didn't lead anywhere with a field at the end of it. It turns out that it's not anymore. It's now got a massive industrial estate on one end, and it's got a great big, I don't know what that is, some kind of unit. Yeah, the last time I come down here was probably, it must have been 15 years ago, when I used to do a little bit of street racing when I was a teenager, and come down here. To be perfectly honest, that was it used to just be a field with a bush. I'd go down there for a wee, to be honest with you. Sometimes we'd sort of go up and down this road. It's quite a nice stretch, and I just fancied a change this morning, and I thought, well, I want to see if my gearbox. I've got the cage truggy with me as well, because if I get enough time, I might give that a bit of a run. But I want to see if my gearbox is going to be working properly. And I thought, well, I could go to the same place that I've been going for the last couple of weekends with that basketball court. I could go to another park. There's a few other parks. And then I was just driving past this place to get to where I was going to go. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to veer off. I know a lovely long stretch of road with nothing on it, because this used to just be, this was just hedges along there. That was all just hedges along here. This was a road. It didn't have any lines, any markings. It was just a road. And then where that gate is there, that was just a dead end. And there was a mound of soil with grass growing out of it and weeds. And behind it was just an open field. There was nothing there. And this was just as it was. Well, luckily it's not a busy road. And it seems to be, because it's a Sunday, I think most things are probably shut. So, at least we still should be able to use the road. Look, it goes all the way down there. Not that I'm going to need to go all the way down there, but... don't you hate it when things get developed? Why couldn't they just leave it as a little empty road with a field at the end? Never mind. Right, let's get the old Savage fired up and see what's going on. I do think it's sad when they develop things. I mean, there's no need for that, is there? I mean, it was perfectly fine. It's just a little old road with a dead end at the end of the field. I mean, why did they have to put buildings and, you know, make it into an industrial estate? It just makes things worse. Anyway, we've got to make sure that we don't get half a tank lean, because the half a tank lean gang will start shouting at the screen. So let's fill up the tank. So for those of you that haven't watched before, the last time that I was out and about with this is a brand new Savage GT6 4.6. The last time I was out and about with it, it didn't want to change gear reliably. It would change gear, but it wouldn't be reliable. So, oh no, it looks like people are going to open up and whatever. Oh, bumped you on here, sorry about that. It would change gear, but it wouldn't be very reliable. It would change gear now and again whenever it felt like it. So I took the gearbox apart just to make sure that everything was okay. Oh no, does that mean this is going to be a busy road? This might end up being a busy road. It's going to be a bit of a pain, isn't it? What's the time? I'm late today, that's why. It's 7:30. Normally I'm out and about 5 o'clock. But it's 7:30. Right. So, let's primer up. Primer up and fire up. Let it warm up a little bit, and then we'll see what we're going to get. I reckon it's going to be alright. I reckon it's going to change gear like the day it was born. I hope it doesn't change gear like the day it was born, because when it was born it didn't want to change gear. Right, here we go. Well, it's echoing off that glass building. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. A bit better. Now we lowered that tick over. That tick over was quite high, wasn't it? So it's a bit better. But if it doesn't want to change gear, you have to play around with it again. See, it hasn't got the acceleration though. I think it should be a lot more peppy than that. I don't think that clutch is working very well. Either that or that slipper's just being a bit daft. Shouldn't really sound like that, you know. It should be. That should be trying to wheelie. We might have an issue with our clutch. I think we've got a clutch issue, if I'm honest. I do think we've got a clutch issue. Either that or it's already in second. So what we're going to do, let's have a little play around with it. Let's, of course, it's nice and hot. Right, let's see if we can resolve this. Where's I forget what it is it 2 or 2.5? I think it's 2, isn't it? 2 mil. So, if we can get that off. I need a little stand really, so I can spin my wheels. Ah, there it is. I was lucky. Is that in there? Right. I've turned it. I just turned that a whole turn. Really, you meant to do it in like little increments, like 1/8 of a turn increments. But I've just turned that a whole turn because I think it's stuck in second. But I think it should be a lot more peppy than that. So obviously we've got, well, really, you've got a slipper clutch, which I've tightened as tight as it'll go. But the actual centrifugal clutch, the one in the clutch belt, you got, I don't know if it's a 3-shoe or a 4-shoe on this. I don't know if I'm honest. But I think that's slipping. Because it shouldn't just be going meh and not going anywhere. That should be wheeling. That should be one to just flip over. Should be one to do backflips. But it doesn't. So I think we got an issue with the clutch, which means the power isn't going into the gearbox, which means it ain't going to change gear. No matter what I do, it won't change gear because the power's just not going there. I think that's the problem. You can tell that by the sound. So I might have to end up taking the clutch off, taking the bell off, the bell end, and seeing what the clutch is like. But I've turned that in a whole turn now. So really, it'll either change gear a lot later, or it'll be stuck in first now, because it must be, to go as fast as it was going, it's got to have been in second already. But I set that to what the manual said, which was put it flush and then do 1.5 turns in. It was a little bit loose. The clutch fork was very loose. So anyway, we're going to work it out, and we'll simple as that, we'll work it out. There is no more to it. We will just simply work it out. Back on my head you go. I'm going to stick that back on so that I don't get any dirt in there. The 5.9 was mint from the get-go. Changed gear perfectly. So I don't know what the deal is with it, but never mind. We'll work it out. Turn that screw in a bit too far, didn't I think? Yeah, I'll tick over. I mean, turned it out, sorry, not in. Turned it out a bit too far. Shouldn't be like that, so I reckon it's going to be a clutch job. It's going to be a clutch job, I reckon. That should be just flipping over. That's full throttle. That should be flipping over. You can always tell if your centrifugal clutch is slipping, because when you pin it, it will just go mee and take off slowly. Watch. That's that. It could be the slipper clutch, but I've tightened that. Unless that's still slipping, even though it's really tight. So we're going to have to do a bit of investigation. But I'm fairly sure that it is definitely stuck in second. But it will need to wear in though. But I don't know. I think it should change. It should be changing. Don't know if we're going to get much more revs out of it. To be going as fast as it is, that's not first gear. Echoing off that glass building like mad. I love it. Right. Just adjusting that trim a little bit. but never mind. We'll work out the gear change and then we'll sort the tick over out. Love it, eh? Gotta love it. If you don't love it, what's the point? Right. Let's 2 millimetrics again. Now I want to try and get it to be in first. So let's find our little clutch holder. There it is. Tilt that up. Spin our wheels. That's the one we want. And then we got to go, I think that's in. Right, so then we go, that was half a turn. So I've now turned it half a turn in. So I've done a whole turn before, 1.5 turns now in from where it was, and it was 1.5 turns in from flush. Now, what I'm trying to do, I'm not trying to get it, well, I am trying to get it to change gear, but I want it to go down into first, because I'm sure that it's just in second, because that little fork is flinging out straight away. And I know that you will anyway, and I encourage you to. Please put in the comments your opinions. Not that any of them matter now, because this is in the past. You're watching me in the past. But oh, excuse me. Yeah, your opinions. It's quite obvious to me that it is staying in second. Now there could be several things going on here, and this is long-winded because I'm filming it and explaining to you. Usually, if I was just on my own, it would be a few minutes and that'll be that. But it could be that the clutch is slipping a little bit because it's already in second, so there's more load on it. Imagine if you was in your car and you tried to pull away in second gear, it would take longer to pull away, wouldn't it? If you've got an automatic car and it's stuck in a higher gear, it's very sluggish. Same thing, because it's in second already. If it was to go down to first, the clutch wouldn't slip as much and it'd probably be trying to wheelie. Could be several things going on, and the job of me is to work out what is going on. So let's, got all the grease off the little lid because it was getting all over my bloody fingers. Oh, goes that way around. Now could be another running out of time jobby here. Who knows? Let's fire it up again. It's because I richened up that low end needle, didn't I? Trying to get the tick over to sort out, I richened that low end up. That's now too much. Ow. Still in second, no doubt about it. Oh, curb. Might have to go some more in. ever. It'd be funny if there wasn't a spring or a little board inside that gearbox, wouldn't it? So it's just, what I'm doing on that grub screw don't make no difference. Little Chinese person's built it wrong. Because these are all made in China now. Unfortunately. Right, you're running out of camera battery, so I know I thought you were feeling a bit flat, didn't you? I know it's because you are a bit flat, unfortunately. But I'm gonna put a new battery in you, and then you'll liven up a bit, and then we'll carry on. Is that all right? Good. I'll see you in a sec. You all right back there? You haven't missed anything. I haven't even done anything. I had a wee. That was about it. Right. 2 millimetrics. So I'm going to go one more turn in and see where we end up. And if we don't, I'm going to call it and say that there's an issue with something. And it could be the clutch. It could be this little gearbox. I'm going to call it and say there is a problem with something. I don't know what. Is that 2? Yeah. But it's going to have to be diagnosed. Right, so 1. God. That's now quite far in compared to where it was. So, as a recap, I originally set it to what the manual said, which was set it flush with the top of the hole. 1.5 turns in. That didn't work. It appeared to be in second still because the little fork was flopping around anyway. Then I turned it in 1 turn, didn't work. Then I turned it in half a turn, didn't work. Now I've turned it in 1 turn. Let's see what happens. By the way, I know some of you get a bit frustrated with this kind of thing. It's, and you write comments saying, "Oh, just do this and that's it, and move on." You're right, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't really care. I mean, I'm just trying to waste a bit of time, if I'm honest with you. That's the reason why I come out on a Sunday morning with these cars, is just to spend a bit of time, because, well, I get up in the morning, wake up, and I can't really do a lot of housekeeping or any other things because everybody's asleep, so I can't make much noise. So I do the bit of stuff in the garden and that, and then I think, well, I'll just come out because I've got to go somewhere anyway. So I'm just using up my time in the morning. So whether I can get this working or not doesn't really matter to me in the slightest. The way I see it, it either works or it doesn't, and at some point in the future, whenever that may be, it will work properly. But when, nobody knows. Anyway, I was just going to stick you back up on my head. There we go. We'll fire it up again. So now I forget where we are now. It's 1 turn, half a turn, 1 turn. So that's 2.5 turns, is it not? 2.5 turns in from the original 1.5 turns. Oh, we might have it then. Aha, now we've got it. Now we've got it. Oh, I don't know then. It changed once. one way but not the other. No, it's not. It went one way but then not the other. Let's have a look. Haha, no it's not. So it changed twice and now it's not. Seems to be in second again. Huh. This is exactly what it done the other day. Got it to change and then it stopped. I know some of you are going to have a theory. The reason it changed was because it was in a good position, but then the grub screw came out a little bit. You might be right. Who knows? But what we do know is the setting that the manual says isn't right. Well, that must, whatever this company is, must be going to open today on Sunday because everyone's going in. Nothing. Not a dicky bird. So it changed once. Well, I never. Well, actually it was twice. Twice it changed. I wonder if we can do that again and make it change again. We can surely give it a go. That's what I'm going to do, I think. Let's do that again. Right, I reckon that's in second again now. So, what we can do then, I reckon that's gone back in a second. So the theory about the grub screw could be correct. Women was, I don't understand it. Why do women vape? Women, man, why they vape? Smoking's not so bad, still unattractive, but vaping's even worse, I reckon. Right, where was I? Let's get this grub screw. Let's just do a little experiment. As I explained before, those of you that were saying about the grub screw, I didn't dismiss it, I just wanted to see exactly what the problem was, because I might be able to come up with a remedy. And if I can come up with a remedy, and I can make, produce and sell that remedy, I could be a millionaire. Don't know if that was turning that or not. Right. So I think I've turned it in roughly between a quarter and a half a turn then. It was a bit dicky because I wasn't sure if it was actually on the grub screw. So, if now it changes gear a couple of times and then stops, the theory about the grub screw is still correct. And I'll recap. I like recapping because people always seem to skip these videos, skip bits, and then they comment about something what I did mention, but they've skipped past it, so they didn't know. So that's why I do a lot of recaps, in case some of you are wondering. I'm not just a weirdo. It's just to recap the people that have been skipping. I've mentioned before that I took on board what everyone said about the grub screws. They come out. If that is the case, I can make a remedy of it and sell it, and I'll become a millionaire. This time next year, I will be a millionaire, Rodney. So it could be that the fact that maybe the grub screws are slightly too small, or the thread pitches are not quite, what's the word? I forget what it's called now when you've got a thread pitch that's... It could be the wrong thread pitch, it could be the grub screw slightly too small. It could be several things like that, which is meaning that it's not gripping. And it might need a slightly fatter grub screw, or if the hole is drilled slightly too big. But that's the same issue, really. So let's see. I've turned it in now. As I said before, if it changes gear a couple of times and then stops, that's the problem. That grub screw is in fact coming out. If it doesn't, there's something else. Oh, you little bastard. You little bastard. Right, yeah. So now we're changing gear. That was a good gear change. One gear change, 2 gear changes, right, 3 gear changes. Right, so we've got a good gear change now. If it goes backwards, we know the grub screw is coming out. Gear change, no gear change, still in second. Gear change. You're near it then. I think it was there though. Yeah, it is changing. It's just not very prominent. Yeah, it's still changing. I think it was still in second then. Right, now it's stopped. Now it's still in. Now it's gone back to being in second. Yeah. Now it's gone back to being in second. Okay. Right. There we go. Now we're back in second. Right. There we go then. There we go, Rodney. That's that sorted. I think I even heard John then. John! See him over there. Can you see him? He's pricked his ears up because that is it. So, hang around. What do they say these days? What's that modern saying? Watch this space. Yeah, that's a modern saying, isn't it? Watch this space. Now I know that is the problem. Let's come up with... I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do, because then you might do it before me, aren't you? Eh? Don't give away my secrets. But as I say, research. Is it research? Not research. What's the word? What was I just doing? I was going to say research and development, but that's not what I was doing. Fault finding. I suppose that's what I was doing. All I need to do is find a slightly bigger grub screw, because you shouldn't be putting thread lock on an adjustment screw, really. An adjustment screw shouldn't really be thread locked. That should just be locked in place with itself. So there's a couple of things that you can do. You can thread lock that one. You could put another grub screw in the front of it and thread lock that in, or you could just find the correct size grub screw. If you find the correct size grub screw, all the problems will go away, because they never used to fall out. They never used to adjust themselves on the older gearboxes. It's just these ones. So yeah, that's where we're going to go from here. So it might be a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but I'm going to come back and you're going to see what I've done to fix it, and without thread locking it. Lovely jubbly. See you on the next one, you lot. All the best. Take care. Don't let people take you for granted, and don't take people for granted, because that's a bad thing to do. See you later. I'm going to run this cage truggy now. I think give that a bit of a blast. It hasn't been run for a while. Cheerio.